In today's video, I'm going to share with you the 3 mechanics that made Jack Nicklaus's swing the most powerful move in golf. And as we go, I'll be sharing with you analysis of Jack's swing demonstrating each of these mechanics. Plus, I'll be sharing with you a key movement to help you master each one of them. And lastly, if you stick around to the end, I'll give you one drill to master them all for a more powerful move for yourself. Everybody, Milo Lines, back here at beautiful Superstition Mountain. Now let's dive in and take a look at those 3 mechanics that made Jack so powerful. Okay, so the first mechanic is the footwork sequence. And I want to walk through and take a look at how Jack utilized his feet in the ground to be very powerful. So as we look at his golf swing here, he does some interesting things. He's got a nice little trigger to get himself started. And then as he winds up, you can see how unrestricted his feet are. He allows his left knee to work behind the golf ball. His left heel gets pretty darn far off the ground. And then he uses his feet almost like a player stepping and throwing if they were throwing a ball, or a hitter in baseball stepping and swinging. So he gets some momentum going through his feet. And you can see that that nice little step as the club is still finishing going up. He plants and he unwinds extremely freely. Now I want to focus a little bit about how he's actually loading into the ground. We can see as he's winding up how much he's internally rotating into his trail hip like a pitcher getting ready to throw a fastball. That right foot is screwed into the ground. That right leg doesn't straighten all the way out. It has a little flex in it, and it's kind of braced, creating a lot of torque that he's able to utilize to shift off of that foot and into the left one, or the lead side, and then unwind. I've pulled up another angle so we can kind of get a better look at this. And here you can really see how he's winding into that trail leg, really winds into it, and then he uses that to shift off of it into his left leg, or his lead leg, and unwind. I see a lot of freedom there, but I also see him loading up. Just like any other athlete, he's getting a lot of force into his trail side so he can utilize it. Now, in today's game, we're starting to see some of our most powerful players utilizing footwork more reminiscent of what Jack Nicklaus was doing. One of those, a great example, is Bryson DeChambeau. Here we've got Bryson, and you can actually see before he pulls his club back, his trail foot, his heel's slightly off the ground. And then he's going to plant into that trail foot and wind his body up. And as he winds, you can see the freedom in his lead side. So his left leg works behind the ball, his left heel raises off the ground, and then as he changes directions, he plants just like Nicklaus did. Heel plants slightly closer to the target. That shows proper sequence. He's not spinning out, he's planting correctly and then utilizing that braking force to unwind himself and sling the club. So what Jack did is being copied today. For a long time, we saw players keeping their feet more planted on the ground, but if we truly want to swing in the most athletic way, we want to copy more what Jack was doing back in his day. And Jack, he spoke at length about the importance of good footwork and using the ground correctly, and that was one of his biggest power producers.
With a 5-iron, you notice that my swing is a little bit longer, my stance is a little bit wider, and my heel will get pulled just slightly off the ground on the backswing, my left heel, and my right heel a little bit on the follow-through. As your swing goes back, your feet are pulled back. As your feet go forward, your feet react with your body.
So here's your first simple movement to start to create that footwork just like Jack. And this one is just some steps, but we want to make sure we're creating some motion, foot to foot, so maybe little heel taps, and then we're going to step into our trail side, wind, and then land back to our lead side. And make sure when we do it, we're not spinning open. So we're landing back, and then you can transition to more of a golf swing footwork where we're not going to actually lift the whole foot off the ground. We're just going to lift the heel and then plant it. And plant it. And you start to feel the dynamics and the power of that. So let me show you from one more angle what that looks like so you get a better picture. So I'm going to turn around and you're going to see from heel side both of those motions. So I'm moving, I step and I land. Land. Now I'm going to convert that into more of a golf swing. Land. Land. And you'll be able to see that's very similar to what Jack was doing in his actual golf swing. Mechanic number 2 for why Jack hit the ball so far is his wide arc. So let's take a look here. We've got an awesome face-on video clip. What I want to show you is how he gets things started. So as he gets ready to rock and roll, in his trigger, you can see how his arms actually squeeze a little closer together and widen out. So you can see that nice little, there's a little trigger, a little shift, a little turn of the head, a widening of the arms. And as he takes this club back, you can see how wide it is for a long time. It's wide, 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 wide. And his hands get very high up there. Now the key is he's not just lifting his hands up, he's winding them up. He's turning them up there, staying in his inclinations and his bends. And as we talked about in the previous key, you can see his footwork, how much he's loaded his legs, but he's also got those arms stretched far away from him. Now, many have talked about him releasing from the top or widening it out, but in reality, it's systematic. He may feel he's releasing from the top, but he's creating lots of angles to be unleashed at the proper time. And that wide arc really creates a lot of speed. So the combination of his beautiful wide arc and the sequence, him landing first, allowed him to feel like he was releasing it the whole time. He never really felt like he had to hold on to anything, but those angles were held because of the energy that he created, the torque that was created in his unwinding. And so there was a lot of freedom in this motion. So let's take a look at another angle here. Here we've got Jack kind of from down the line. This is at St. Andrews. This drive went over the green, which I believe was about 350 yards to the pin. And probably a little help from the wind, but check this out. He winds the system up big. Look how high his hands are at the top of his backswing. His hands are above his head. His right arm is flying, what a lot of people would say. Nowadays, it's becoming more commonplace to be able to get that right arm detached from your body, not keep it so attached the entire time. That way you can create a wider arc and have more time to accelerate things. Having a bigger runway to accelerate makes more speed, which is why Jack, or one of the reasons why Jack could hit it so far compared to his contemporaries. You can see the combination of the footwork blended with the big wide arc. And here I actually like, he's almost taken a step. You can see his left foot steps forward and replants as he unwinds and smashes that thing. And here we can see the ball run across the back of the green. Pretty awesome. So all the things that Jack talked about, his one-piece takeaway, the flying elbow, it's all created through the idea of creating a wide arc. You have to transport that systematically with a big wind up, keeping some structure. And that's how he's able to get his hands up so high and create all that speed. Now, a movement to develop a wide arc, I like to think of this as holding a beach ball under the water, and you're holding it under the water continuously entire backswing. So if you can imagine that sensation, you got the ball in your hands, we're going to couple that with the good footwork, hold the ball under the water, and create that wind and unwind, creating a continuous push away. Just enough tension to hold the ball under the water. We want to make sure we're building from the footwork up. So as I'm doing this, I don't want to forget about that awesome footwork that Jack had. So I'm feeling myself winding, freedom in my legs, planting and unwinding. That's how we're going to develop that nice wide arc that's sequenced correctly. So mechanic number 3 is a big turn. On the screen here, I've got a video from his teenage years. Check this out. So we create that wide arc, and look at that big turn, that stretch. Look how high those hands are. Holy cow, they're 6 inches above his head. Look at that big stretch in his windup. You can actually see his right shoulder all the way behind his head. And then as he transitions and lands back to the left, you can see how much stretch he's creating in his lead side, his lead arm, and how his trail arm gets under his lead arm. Awesome motion. So even from a young age, he was creating a huge windup, a big turn. I really like this overhead view because this shows that he's creating a great big windup in the backswing, more than a 90-degree turn. He's landing back to the left, and then he has a huge unwind. So Jack was unwinding dynamically. Now in reality, all 3 of these mechanics work together. Good sequencing and footwork, coupled with a wide arc and a big turn. Amazing athletic sequencing that allowed him to hit the ball farther than just about anybody of his era. Now our last movement is to help create that big turn. Here we call this the propeller drill. So we're going to have our arms out so that they're straight out of our shoulders. We bend over into our golf posture, and now we're going to create a big winding, and the goal is to get more than 90 degrees of turn in. Also a big key is that this turn has to be in the correct plane. I can't turn 90 degrees like this or more, but get out of plane. I want to make sure that I'm winding up and I'm in the correct bends or in the correct inclination. So we wind, we unwind. We let our feet have the freedom, wind, land, unwind. Okay, so now let's wrap this all up and learn to apply these 3 principles into our swing. This drill, we're going to call it the Golden Bear Drill. And what you're going to do is we're going to start off with the good foot movement. We're going to have a little trigger where we create a little structure in our arms like we see with Jack. So we create that little structure, big wide wind up. See if we can get our hands up as high as we can, and then land and unwind. We're going to do it in somewhat of a slow motion to start. So hopefully you could see how big that movement was. That felt like a big stretch. It felt like lots of freedom in my feet, more than normal even for me. And that's where I want you to go with this. I want you to feel how to stretch yourself out, how to create a big turn, how to have good free movement of the feet that's sequenced correctly. Now let's see that from face on. So now that we've done the movements at a little slower rate of speed, just for fun, let's put it all together and really uncork one and just smash it out there like Jack would have. That was a pretty big 8-iron. So there you have it. Those are the 3 mechanics I want you to focus on if you're looking for more speed and distance. If you focus on those, I know you're going to find it. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you'd like to improve faster, come on over to my online academy at milolinesgolf.com for one-on-one coaching combined with the athlete's swing. My simple, step-by-step playbook to truly swing like an athlete. Click the link below to start your training today. And if you're new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop. Thanks again. We truly appreciate all of you.